What's going on, everyone? What an amazing, interesting, what a teeter-tottering, seesawing day. So yesterday, I said that, so obviously we broke down from a major support line, right, on the SPY. This is the 15-minute chart. And I was saying, we would need to retest the breakdown zone. And from here, if we don't cross above it, then we could potentially add to shorts. What ended up happening is we ended up opening at the breakdown zone. So that was extremely bullish. Literally, if you would have gone long above the levels that I was talking about yesterday, you would be in major profit, which is amazing. So overall, a really, really nice bullish day. Again, markets are getting extremely overextended. So let's see if this momentum sustains itself. If not, then we will continue looking for a break of this support zone to see move to the downside. But currently, we have closed above it once more. So let's go right into looking at what's going on in the major indices. If you like my video, if you like what I'm doing on the channel, if you like all of the content that I'm providing you guys, please make sure to drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, share it with your family members, share it with your friends. I provide pretty good content in my opinion, so it can actually help. So yeah, I hope I'm helping. Anyway, let's get right into it. All right, so we're looking at the daily chart of the SPY. Yesterday I was saying that we were about to cross down below the yellow MACD line, which would have looked bearish, but this morning there was positive CPI, retail CPI news. Let me show. Yeah, so core retail sales was extremely bullish today. So this morning at 8:30 a.m., there was a forecast of 5.1% and 5.8%. We blew the forecast, and the actual percentage was much higher, which was a major reason why the indices opened up so high. So now, instead of it crossing down below the yellow MACD line, it bounced off of it essentially and created a new high. We, again, were trading above the support level that needed to hold, and things just look bullish. That's it. There's not really much else to say. We just trade the levels blindly. And currently, we're in a bullish environment. We're very bullish above this level of momentum. And that's just how we're going to be. This is a chart of the QQQ now. Let me go ahead and... Yep, so this is a 15-minute chart of the QQQ. Same thing that I was saying yesterday. We would need to retest these levels that we broke down from to see if we can add to shorts here and then have continued downside. But again, I said, I didn't think that we were going to continue downward. I said yesterday it looked so bearish that if it did start to fall, then it would fall all the way back to where we, started moving up this month. And I was very, very skeptical, skeptical about that happening. So I had a feeling that we would create somewhat of a bottom around this area here and then bounce back up. But we didn't even end up touching those support levels. We just ended up just bouncing straight from yesterday's close due to the retail numbers. So again, on the Qs, we're trading above this level. And again, that's very, very bullish. And, we're just trading the levels blindly. That's it. That's all we can do. The QQQ looks bullish. The SPY looks bullish above these levels. Currently, so for tomorrow, what we need to hold is 340.90 on the Qs. And on the SPY, what we need to hold is 415.50-ish, essentially. So if those levels hold, then, we're just bullish above them. And if they break, then we're bearish below them. That's it. Very simple. So here's the daily chart of the IWM. We closed above a very important level, 224.10. And we have remained above 224.10. So let's see if we can end up retesting this level at 226.10 and break above it. But I don't think that might happen due to the increased strength that we see in the Qs and the SPY. But again, the market is susceptible to change every day. That's why I specifically said on Twitter, just don't buy into plays extremely heavy on the swing side because many things can happen overnight. And regardless, during the day, things can look extremely good for one direction and then just completely go against you. So for now, similar to the SPY and the QQQ, we're just trading the levels. We're bullish above 224.10. And we're above 224.10. We're right at support, which is very good. We're also at this level of support, trendline support, and we're above that as well, which is pretty good. So the IWM relatively bullish compared to the major indices as well. Crude oil had another major leg up today, which is a very good sign for the overall bullishness of the market. When crude oil does well, the market does well. So yeah, we're in a nice little bullish environment. We're starting to become a bit oversold, overbought on the Bollinger Bands, but we can see in the past, crude oil has not had an issue trading above the Bollinger Band levels. So this does not apply as heavily on crude oil as it does to the other indices. Okay, so now the only issue now is that the dollar is now coming to a very close support, which is at 91.382, 91.4 essentially. And we had such a huge, fast downward move that a bounce in the dollar somewhat might be just become inevitable. Similar, we had such a downward move in the dollar. We have been climbing up so fast in the Qs and in the SPY, right? So it's inevitability that there might end up being a downturn. So we can key off of the dollar to see when a potential downturn in the SPY and the QQQ might occur. So as we get closer to this level of support on the dollar, the risk of being long SPY and the QQQ increases. So if we get down to this level and we start bouncing heavy, then that would be very bearish for the SPY and the QQQ, in my opinion. So for now, the dollar seems to maybe have found a bottom. Let's see if it can continue upward into tomorrow. Yeah, so the dollar, just as the dollar goes down, stocks go up. Okay, so just keep that in mind. The U.S. 10-year yield had a very, very, very bearish day today. As you can see, it fell 4.62%. So, and we're outside of the lower level of the Bollinger Band. So we fell very, very heavily, very quickly, which is another reason why the tech sector had an amazing day. I think it was due to the 10-year yield falling and as well as obviously the dollar falling. So, yeah, that's basically it for the major indices. That's it for the dollar and the US 10-year yield. Now, I guess we can go over all of the stocks that you guys wanted me to check out. We could start with Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin, as you know, on my Twitter feed, I alerted that I was getting into Mara and Riot calls because I alerted it when Bitcoin was around 62,500. It just didn't make sense to me because Bitcoin was down 1%. But then if you looked at Mara and Riot, Mara was down. Oh, wow, it's up huge in the post market. Okay, that's nice. I hope that I hope that sustains itself. But Mara was down huge. Like it was down way more percentage than Bitcoin was down. And it fell. Look at the way that it fell. So it fell from 54. Let's look at a percentage change. So it fell approximately, it fell 29% in the past 3 days. So, all right, let's look at Riot. See, so Riot, I said that it looked good here, and then it opened up higher, which was nice, took profits, whatever. But Riot is also down 30% in the past 2 days. So it doesn't make sense. Because Bitcoin only fell. Look, has Bitcoin fallen? Has Bitcoin done anything crazy like that? No, it hasn't. So let's see. Usually when this happens, And usually, for months now, as Bitcoin has had a red day and then it consolidates a bit, if Mara and Riot fall heavily, but Bitcoin can remain bullish and sustain its levels, then Mara and Riot freaking they catch up heavy. So um, I hope that sustains itself, and I hope I hope that'll look good because that'll be an amazing play. But the one caveat with this now is that because Coinbase IPO'd, um, many of the Bitcoin related stocks that we were trading before, which were Riot, Mara, MSTR, etc., that might now just be Coinbase. So money might just be funneling out of these stocks here, Mara and Riot, which is, another reason why they fell 30% in the past few days. So if Coinbase gets all of the attention now, then all of what we've been used to of, if Bitcoin goes up 2%, my Mara and Riot are up 8 or 10%. That might change now that Coinbase IPO'd. So let's see if that sustains itself, and let's see if that trend persists. But yeah, all right. So let's look back at Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, it crossed back above this level of support, and that is very bullish. I was saying that we might have somewhat of a small pullback, and then a retest of the all-time highs. We didn't really have a pullback, and many traders that I know overnight, like very very good traders on Bitcoin, are looking to short around 63,600 and 63,800 for a downside move. But again, if they did short it at these levels of resistance, if we can sustain ourselves into the morning at 9:30 a.m., because we have another more than 12 hours now. So if Bitcoin in the next 12 hours, falls down here to 62.5 or even 62.2, right? But then it bounces back up and, crosses back into this level and retests. Obviously, this is the daily chart. These are days. This is just gonna this move is going to happen within, you know, one candle. But uh, yeah, Bitcoin just needs to hold. Bitcoin is trading above an amazing level of support. It's uptrend support from January 27th of this year, multiple touches, sustained itself all throughout this period. It fell down periodically, but now it just reclaimed it. So similar to how, you know, the Qs, it was the March 2020 bottom. It just recently reclaimed it. So Bitcoin is now in that same area, really. It just reclaimed a major support. So let's see if it can maintain itself. Overall, Bitcoin is very, very bullish in the short term. Maybe in the short term, meaning like literally hours, it can be bullish or it can be bearish. But overall, I'm just going to remain extremely bullish on all cryptos for the next year, really, at least. So yeah, there's Bitcoin. All right, so TTCF. So as you can see, we're at major levels of support ranging back from all the way from June 20th, right? So this looks pretty decent. The MACD is extremely oversold, which means that it has potential room to the upside on this stock. The one caveat is if we continue falling, because we just cleared another support level, we fell below 1825. Okay, so that is bearish. Now, if these levels don't hold, we can potentially retest this low right here, which is 1741. I would try to get and buy as close to 1741 as possible. By that time, the MACD will be even more oversold, and it'll give a better price and a tighter stop. Really, it'll just be a better trade. But overall, right now, if you were to buy into TTCF, the support level would be this level right here, 1741. But you have to keep in mind we just broke a major level of support, which is 1825. But yeah, overall, it doesn't look extremely bearish, so that's good. KMPH. It made a low recently at 8:30, okay? And it just started to bounce back above it. And now we are trading above it currently, which is a very good sign. So really, honestly, 8:30 needs to hold on this stock. If it can hold, then especially because the MACD is oversold, it can potentially cross back above. And the price of the stock can also potentially cross back above. So it doesn't look bad, really. This is a pretty bullish consolidation relative, from what happened. it it pumped so fast and then it fell so fast, and now, from January had a huge move, but now it's really trading around support, and which is pretty good. So if you want to trade this in the short term, I would have tight stops, potentially below 850 and then 830. And yeah, I would try to buy as close to those levels as possible. All right, CRBP. All right, so this is also close to multiple layers of support, which is very, very good. It's already up 10% in the post market. So I hope you're in it already. But in case it doesn't open this high, um, what we can look at is the fact that we are in an uptrend. From these levels here, we're in an uptrend. We are making higher lows consecutively, which is another bullish sign. Um, we made a low here, but then we held it. We held this low at 167. We tried to touch it at 169, but we held the 167 support. If that level doesn't hold, then 163 needs to hold. So all in all, this was a very nice tight opportunity to get into the stock today, which is why it's potentially going up in the post market, because there was multiple layers of support right below here. And yeah, all in all, CRBP looks pretty good. GNOG, it looks very bad, actually. So GNOG, you can see this level of resistance ranging back from December, right? And it's a downward trend, and every single time we've been touching it, it falls down below it. So today was no different. It opened up higher, and it couldn't cross above. Given the entire market was green today, the fact that this really couldn't cross above is a bearish sign in the short term, especially since we had it wasn't even a huge move really on the stock. But yeah, so one of the main levels that I need to hold is literally where we wicked down, which is 1421. It reclaimed this gap here on GNOG. So again, you remember what I said in yesterday's video, gaps are something that algorithms and funds need to fill the orders of. So you see this gap in between these 2 days. So you look at the high here at 1431, it gapped up, and the low here is 1460. So there is a 29-cent gap that needed to be filled. So they went and filled that gap up today, but it held support. So literally, the low of today needs to hold as support. If that doesn't hold, then we can see potential of it falling all the way back down to 1250. And one argument for that may happen is the MACD line just crossed down below today. So we can see continued downward move on the MACD and on the price action of the stock for it to bounce and cross back above here. So I would be careful. I would have a tight stop below today's low on GNOG. CHPT, it looks very, very bearish because we're in a huge downtrend, and every single time we've been touching this downtrend level, it falls. And we are trading below an uptrend level from March 25th. So this is literally a very, very strong level of resistance. If we can trade above this level tomorrow, then there is potential for it to cross above both of these levels, find somewhat of a bottom above this trend line, and then continued upside. But these levels need to hold. So it also looks pretty good on the MACD because it's extremely oversold. So what needs to happen is today's low needs to hold at 2206. As you can see, it coincides with multiple layers of support in the past, as well as $22 in general. Just really needs to hold on the stock. Um, if not, then we will most likely test this lower level at 2050 or 2060 area on CHPT. So Alliance Bernstein, you can see that it bounced clean off of the 50% Fibonacci level. Today wasn't a very good day for a lot of the stocks in AB sector, but we held this level of support at 39.52, which coincides basically with the low of the day at 39.58. So it really needs to reclaim 40.32 for it to continue its upside move. It's overall, it looks very bullish. This is a bull flag formation, as you can see here. It just needs to cross above that level of resistance here. Once it crosses above this level of resistance, as you can see, it's had multiple touches. If it can cross above, then there is a lot of steam to the upside. So I would keep an eye on AB, especially because the MACD level looks extremely oversold now, which again, it gives potential room to the upside for the MACD, and that would coincide with potential move to the upside on the stock. Okay, so all in all, in the short term, 39.52 needs to hold. If that doesn't hold, then it can fall down to 38.71, which coincides perfectly again with another level of support. So you can see that when drawing Fibonacci levels, etc., and you have confluence with resistance levels, it makes trading much easier because you can just trade the levels blindly. If you wanted to short every single time it touched this line, you would have made profit, which is very good. But yeah, all in all, AB just needs to hold 39.50, and if it can cross above this downtrend, then it would look very bullish. So I would keep an eye on AB. WLK, obviously, it looks extremely bullish. Recently, it's had an amazing move upward, but now we're approaching multiple layers of resistance to the upside, and it needs to. And another thing, yeah, so the MACD is extremely overbought now. So if the MACD was extremely oversold and we were at resistance, that would bode well because that would mean that we had a lot of more upside room. But given the fact that the MACD is so far away from the MACD line and we are now extremely overbought at resistance, I would be very, very careful. And these levels would actually be amazing levels to go short against. So today's high at 95.42, that would have been an amazing level to go short, given the fact that the MACD is extremely overbought. As you can see in the past history of most stocks in general, when the MACD is extremely overbought, there is a decline. So here, right here, decline coincides with this MACD line being overbought, right? So you can see the pattern. Um, we might continue on a little bit higher. We might break this first level of resistance and then fail at this level of resistance. But either way, now is not the time to really go long this stock. What needs to happen is it needs to cross above these levels, consolidate a bit, and then you can go long against support for it to break above, consolidate a bit. If you miss this break here, you wait for it to break above here, and you wait for it to retest the support level before you buy again. And you can buy against 97.14, and you have a tight stop below it, and then that would be a good trade. But right now is not a good time to go long. It's a much better time to buy puts and to go short, in my opinion, on WLK. Uber, very similar to WLK, had a huge run up recently, but now we're again at multiple layers of resistance. So these these layers of resistance are extremely important, and now is not a good time to start going long the stock. really these levels need to hold here. And the fact that Uber did have a close above this previous layer of support at $60, it can potentially be good for it to continue upward. But I would be very careful. If you did want to buy here, I would have a tight stop below $60, especially given the fact that the MACD is also overbought. But the MACD line is in an uptrend. The MACD has been, consolidating, but it is in a straight line. So that's the only good thing about that for the MACD. But overall, long term, I think Uber is extremely Uber bullish, and yeah, I would. If you want to go long here, you would have a tight stop below $60. If you didn't want to go long, you can go short against 61.48. So these levels really, you can just there's multiple ways of trading this, and there's no really wrong way of trading it. You just have to stick to the levels and make your best judgment. But overall, Uber does look, overbought in the short term. I would wait for it to consolidate. Hopefully, if you can get it closer to $60 and buy it around there, that would be much better. But for now, um, I would have to wait for it to cross above this level of resistance here at 61.50. If we can cross above 61.50, and then, so if we break above 61.50 and then we retest it, that's when I would buy it and have a tight stop below for it to continue upward. I wouldn't want to buy it on the break completely. Okay. So Joseph, you were wondering when EBON would touch $9 again, but for now, we just keep on falling down layers of support, which isn't good on EBON. The ultimate layer of support would be around 375. If 375 holds, then it can create somewhat of a bottom. We are extremely oversold on the MACD, but as you can see, just looking at it from here, right? So if you were looking at it right here, we fell huge, right? And the MACD is extremely oversold. That means, hey, it's trading around $7, $8. We can potentially bounce back up to 10. But that is not what happened. We periodically bounced a little bit on the MACD, but what that did in the price was we just consolidated around here, which is extremely bearish. And because we couldn't move alongside the MACD's move upward in the price action, it meant that we were just going to continue moving downward. So let's see if basically what happened here is similar to what's going on over here. But I don't think it would be as devastating of a move downward, only because we are at multiple layers of support. We're getting very close to 375. If 375 holds, I would want to try to buy as close to 375 as possible and have a tight stop below it. But, these levels are important as well, 440. And just, it's kind of difficult because there's so much going on. Really, honestly, if you want to trade it in the shorter term, you would have to hold it above $4. If it breaks $4, then your new level of support would be 375, and you would have tight stops below each. Overall, the MACD needs to cross above. We need to see how this, what happens here. The MACD line is pointing downward, which isn't great, but as you can see, we're up 30 cents after hours, which is pretty good. So that would potentially mean the MACD line is crossing above. So let's see if tomorrow EBON's MACD crosses above and how that translates into the price. Because we saw a sharp move up in the MACD, but it didn't translate well in the price of the stock. So if that happens again, and we just consolidate doing nothing while the MACD looks bullish, that is extremely bearish for the price action of the stock, and we can continue falling lower. So, yeah, we just need to see what happens. 440 needs to hold. If we break above and we open above 450, 440 we need to hold. if this post-market move doesn't sustain itself, then $4 needs to hold, and today's lows essentially. Yeah, there's EBON. Fubo, honestly, I wish I was looking at Fubo. Um, I got into some calls earlier, like a few weeks ago, but yeah, I sold them obviously. But then I wish I was looking at Fubo because um, a break down below this level right here at 2040 was an amazing short. As you can see, like I had these levels, I had this Fibonacci level drawn out already, and that was just an amazing short. And we fell so heavily already. The MACD line hasn't even crossed down below. So that means that there's so much more potential downward um, room for it to go, which is pretty scary on Fubo. So yeah, if that correlation persists and it translates in the price action, then Fubo's price can fall much lower. Um, the next layer of support would have to be around 1850. If 1850 doesn't hold, then I would, I would honestly just reconsider trying to go long until it bounces back above, um, 1750, then 1850, and then I would wait for it to find a bottom, and I would wait for the MACD line to become a bit more oversold, and then I would choose to go long. But right now, it's very bearish. Um, all of the signs of it becoming bullish kind of just nullified themselves. We found somewhat of a bottom on Fubo at around 2040. We were consolidating a bit, and as you can see right here, again, similar to the last example, we were extremely oversold on the MACD. We were at support, and this was a perfect opportunity for Fubo to bounce. All right, it bounced. It broke the downward trend that was happening since the highs at around January 27th. Right, so it was a perfect opportunity for it to break. It broke above. Right, it broke above this next level of resistance as well that I have drawn out, and it failed, and it just reversed on itself. It fell back down to 2048 or 2040, and what happened? The MACD is no longer oversold. It's now trading above it. But what happened with the price action is it still stayed basically the same for weeks, which is extremely bullish or extremely bearish. So that's why, because the MACD line, even as it crossed above, the price of Fubo didn't cross and above resistance levels. It couldn't even retest $26. The fact that that happened is very bearish. That's why we saw a huge break today, and that's why the MACD looks very scary and bearish. So I would just be very careful. Honestly, you could go short against 2040, and 2040 would, a little bit above it would be your stop loss. Overall, I would just be very careful about going long Fubo. It's way more safer on the short side for now, in my opinion. APHA. All right, APHA looks pretty good. I alerted Tillery a few days ago, made some money on that, sold it, and now we're basically trading around the same area as APHA and Tillery was trading a few days ago. So this is a trend line support from December 20th. We can see that it retested this level a few times since that time, and we've bounced a little bit each time, right? So now this level really needs to hold. Today's low at 1345. That basically coincides with the lower level of this trend line. Bullish things is that we are extremely oversold on the MACD. We are at support. So now we need to see if we can, create a convincing bounce upward. If the MACD creates a strong bounce upward, but it doesn't translate. So basically what needs to happen is if the MACD crosses above the yellow line, which is very bullish, right? Very bullish on momentum. But APHA's price action can't break above these levels of resistance, that becomes very, very scary because we had a very bullish move on the MACD, but it didn't translate into the price of the stock itself. So I hope you guys are understanding a bit more of what I'm saying in regards to the MACD. This weekend, I'm going to make a video on all of the different technical indicators that I use and how I piece them together. I'm going to try to make a video on Fibonacci retracements soon as well. But overall, I'm going to make a video on my entire charting setup. But yeah, so APHA, we're at support. The MACD is oversold. If we're going to bounce, that was the time. And also, there is a gap on APHA. You can see this gap right here that needs to be filled at the high, which is 1505 to 1570. So there is approximately a 70-cent gap that needs to fill as well. People are going to be looking at that. People are going to be looking, hey, you know, we're at support. We're oversold on the MACD, and there's a gap upward. Now is a great time to buy in. I wouldn't be surprised if this opens up because this is a really, really good buying opportunity. So if it breaks down below, then that's terrifying. So I hope it doesn't break down below. I like trading these stocks. But yeah, if we can cross above here, which is if we can fill the gap, then we can cross above the downward momentum that's been happening since March. And that would be very, very bullish. So I hope that happens. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Wow, 37 minutes long. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys learned something. Drop a like, comment, subscribe to the channel. I hope you guys learned some stuff. Let me know what I can do better. And definitely, if you want me to do an analysis on any stock that you want, drop a comment in the comment section of this video, and I will go ahead and do that for you. Thank you so much for watching, and have an amazing day.